Superman is gay now and why that's good. Demi Lovato takes her Muppetry into the stratosphere. Lizzo is brave, that is for sure. Southwest Airlines has some chaos, and the fate of Jerry's Nuts is finally revealed, along with much, much more. Fleckus Talks the Podcast, episode 004, featuring Richard Rappaway.
I'm a libertarian communist. I don't believe in authoritarianism. I'm a full-born Lenin communist.
He killed a lot of people, though. A lot of people died from him.
Okay, how many people died from capitalism?
How many?
Exactly.
This is Fleckus Talks the Podcast, audio only.
What happened to 104?
Yeah, so I was thinking about it, and it turns out that labeling the podcast in college class format, 101 being the first one, now we're up to 104, was actually a bad idea, because I'm realizing when people get to the podcast page for the first time, they're going to be like, oh, this probably isn't that funny because they've had 100 episodes and I never heard of it.
True.
So I made a mistake.
Fleckus' first backtrack on the podcast.
Look what we did. We corrected, and now we're back on the right track.
All right, 004.
A lesser man.
Why do you need the zeros then?
Well, because there's going to be 3 digits eventually.
Okay.
So it's teasing what's coming. So moving on, let's get right into it. Superman is gay now. Richard Rappaway, can you read the highlights from the Guardian article?
Yes, DC Comics reveals latest Superman as woke bisexual. First bullet point, the Man of Steel will be in a same-sex relationship while combating the climate crisis and protesting the deportation of refugees.
Protesting the deportation of refugees. It's like, don't fix the country they come from or solve the corruption.
Yeah, can't Superman create manufacturing jobs back in Ecuador?
Yeah. No, he can't. He's going to protest Trump, it sounds like.
Yeah.
All right, what else does it say?
Right, it doesn't stop there. In August, it was announced that the latest version of Robin would have a boyfriend.
I could have guessed that. Robin would be... If you're going to do one, it's like 1 in, 10 people is gay? Not even. Like, that's like a fake stat. 1 in 100 people? I don't know.
Yeah,
so it's like maybe
that.
one of these characters. So it's like, all right, give him Robin. But did they just take that? Did they stop there? No. They're going for Superman now. And then what's next?
In March, Marvel decided to pass the mantle of Captain America to a gay character.
Okay. So it's not about having the right proportions and a couple gay people here and there. They made everybody gay.
Yeah, and then this last point says the idea of replacing Clark Kent with another straight white savior felt like a missed opportunity, the series writer said.
Yeah. Well, I think some people think this is a problem because like the kids are going to get influenced and be like, oh, all this gay stuff must be great. But I don't think kids even read comic books anymore, which is great. So now it's going to be like these Harry Potter people who are just going to be pissed that Robin's gay now and people that like play Dungeons and Dragons. So if they can get red pilled through this process, hey, it's a big Gamergate kind of.
Yeah, the guys who have their entire room like, figurines and stupid shit. And now, hey, guess what? All your friends, all the guys you liked, they're gay now.
They kind of got this consent already. They kind of got like the whole love is love thing and not judging people and the LGBTQ acceptance. I'm sure the comic community wasn't against that. And now it didn't stop there. It's not love is love. Let us do what we want. It's Superman is gay now. And that's great, right? You're into that storyline. You're into that love interest. You're supporting him and watching him make out with the dude. And
Louis Lane. Louis Lane. He's got a mustache.
Exactly. So now Superman's making out with dudes and you have to go, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, and that's the same thing, like you said, the 1% to 5% or to 10%, whatever the population is gay. It's like, isn't the point of superheroes to be like relatable and like you look up to him and stuff? And now it's just like, well, he's also gay. So good luck sorting that one out, little coming of age Timmy.
They did this to James Bond too. I watched the James Bond commercial or the trailer over the weekend, and like one of the most iconic moments from the trailer is James Bond on the back of a Vespa that some black woman is driving. And it's like James Bond's come a long way, and now it's time for him to take a back seat to people of color so they can go jump off of a building and catch onto a helicopter and wrestle the guy and land the plane. It's like we suspend disbelief enough for James Bond and Steven Seagal and Tom Brady, all these guys.
Tom Brady.
Just throwing him in there. He does what's impossible. But it's like James Bond, we pretend, and Steven Seagal, we pretend that you can do all these crazy things and you're just some superhero type dude and you're so good and you're assassin. And it's like now you make James Bond a woman or whatever it is. And it's like there's a reason we don't have women James Bond. And it's like, there's a reason if you make a women James Bond type movie that's not James Bond with a women lead who's the superhero type, that people aren't going to like it or gravitate towards it, because we already suspend disbelief enough for James Bond. Now a girl is going to jump off the building, catch onto the helicopter and do a pull-up, and she's like 115 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's like, instead of making their own and failing, they'd rather just piggyback off of James Bond, ruin James Bond, and instead of saying, oh, James Bond got ruined because girls can't do what James Bond does, they say James Bond got ruined because people are hateful.
Misogynistic crowd.
Misogynistic, yeah. And they're against seeing women leads because they must hate women. Nah.
Dude, and it's just a broader part of this like cultural hijacking where it's like, take something that's already good and then we tweak it to what we want. You can't develop from the ground up a new gay character who's awesome, you know? So it's like, let's just print another movie, get a little headline for the marketing portion, because these movies spend movies, comics, whatever, spend a significant portion of their money just marketing it. So they're like, let's get some free headlines. Superman's gay now. And it's just a cultural hijacking. It's like they took something else and made it worse instead of inventing something from the ground up and hoping that it worked out.
Exactly. And then when it fails because it's worse, it doesn't fail because it's worse. It fails because people need to improve and people need to make more progress and people aren't ready for it yet.
It's a vicious, vicious cycle.
They demand we suspend belief, and I'm the most realistic person of all time. And it's like they do this for Lizzo, too. Did you see what Lizzo was wearing the other day?
Unfortunately, I did see. I saw multiple angles, multiple videos.
Yeah, so I did as well. Lizzo went to Cardi B's party, I believe, and she was wearing, I don't know, netting?
Yeah,
Is that
it looked like a fishnet. She got caught in a...
Like pure fishnets, and she's just naked, and she had no shoes on.
Oh, I didn't see the no shoes.
And then everyone's saying, like, you know, Lizzo's so brave because she's handling all the backlash. And it's like...
Lizzo stole the show.
Yeah, Lizzo stole the show. We have to pretend. We have to manufacture this. Oh, yeah, Lizzo great, Lizzo healthy, Lizzo good, this good, Lizzo fat good. And, I mean, obviously, I'm a person of size myself. I'm allowed to make fun of Lizzo. Not even make fun of. I'm allowed to call this out because I weigh 300 pounds as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm allowed to say this. Like, Lizzo, what's the truth here? You are not healthy based on your weight, which is fine. You know, a lot of people aren't.
You are not beautiful either.
I didn't say that, but yeah, you probably are less beautiful than other people because not as many people are attracted to people of size.
Yeah.
So that's a fact. And it's like, instead of sitting with that uncomfortable fact humbly and saying, if I want to be better and healthier and more attractive, maybe there's some things I can work on. Instead of doing that, she saran wraps herself, shows up to Cardi B's party, and whoever says anything other than, yes, go, queen, now those people are hateful. Lizzo's the victim. And it's just like a cycle where it's like, oh, Lizzo got hate, but look how brave she is. Yeah, you are brave, Lizzo. You're naked in the street with no shoes on.
That's crazy. I don't know any rational person who would do that.
No one does that. So it's like, oh, Lizzo's so brave. And then all the hate she got from these body shamers, fat phobic. And it's like, what we're doing is softening the blow and creating this environment where Lizzo can thrive. When in reality, maybe Lizzo does need to sit with her thoughts and say, how can I improve? What can I do better? How do I be healthier? But we don't let her have that moment to herself because everyone's like, yeah. And then Lizzo's going to drop dead on the stage one day. And everyone's going to go, whoa, we ran that one into the ground.
Yeah. Dude, well, it's another one of those instances of the reaction being manufactured and propping up this thing that they want to happen. Lizzo stole the show. Lizzo bold and amazing. And it's like, dude, what are we celebrating here?
Yeah. It's like, I'm not intimidated by Lizzo's boldness and her power and her strength. I'm intimidated by like the Warren Sapp side of Lizzo. the 4-point stance, shaking in her stance, coming down, and I can't dig her out.
Twitchy leg and white knuckles, just
downhill.
Sweating.
And she knows the snap count, and she's coming off, and you got to dig her out with the guard. That's a very specific interior lineman thing, but some people will get that. Chinese donut boy will appreciate that.
Yeah, there you go. Lizzo is, according to Google, 308. Oh, no, they changed it. It says 260 now. We looked this up less than a day or two ago. It said 308.
So maybe she lost 40 pounds and 50 pounds in a day.
Based on that fishnet outfit,
Lizzo,
I don't think so.
Lizzo, as someone who wants to go from 308 to 260 overnight myself, you can't just do that. And if you can, let me know who did, and let's get some of these fleckus weights adjusted. Do you know in high school I used to do that where I would like my sophomore year because I wanted to get recruited for football. I was 6'3" and like 290 on the pamphlet, and then by my senior year we had like more official stuff, and I was like 6'1", 280.
It's like you shrunk.
I shrunk and lost 15 pounds from sophomore year to senior year. Yeah,
Showing up to the recruiting meeting with just Timberlands and lifts, and you're just like, your arms are short, but you're somehow 6'4".
Exactly. I used to literally do that. I went to a Franciscan Catholic school. The teachers and the principal, all the people, they were like in robes. They were like brothers and sisters, so like nuns and Franciscan brothers. And they were actually so cool and so down to earth, and everyone loved me. I was a very cool, nice, great kid. High school kid.
All right.
And so I was getting recruited for football, and I was telling Brother Gary, the principal, I was like, Brother Gary, I need to be tall when these coaches come to meet me. I can't wear the school uniform shoes. I need to wear Timberlands with the heels of other shoes cut out, stacked up, and put in my boots, so I'm standing like 6'3" and a little bit more when they come. So they're like, oh, take the boots off, he's 6'1". I mean, that's basically what I did. And it worked.
It worked out.
It absolutely worked. Everyone met me, and they're like, oh, this guy is pretty big. I thought he was going to be a little short. And then, yeah, eventually I did go to school for football and never looked back.
Started a lot.
It didn't matter how tall I was. I just needed to be let in the door.
Smart.
Speaking of let in the door, I have a friend who works at a restaurant, and she said that Demi Lovato came in the other day. And
this is firsthand personal.
This is firsthand real story about Demi Lovato, who we're going to be talking about anyway because she's doing Muppetry into the stratosphere.
Very nice. Of course. She's been on a tear.
So for those who don't know, Demi Lovato is like
former pop singer, Disney type,
became some sort of like asexual Muppet thumbhead.
Yeah.
I'm not being mean. I have some thumb tendencies. I look like a thumb. My head can when I shave it, so I'm allowed to say it as well. She looks kind of like a thumb, weird hair, bowl cut. It's not the best look, but she's playing her role as the deep state pawn Muppet that she is. So the other day she said that we shouldn't call aliens because that's a derogatory term. Instead, we should call them extraterrestrials or ETs. And that's what she said, and she's an absolute idiot. So my friend works at a restaurant and said that she called ahead and said, you need to open the back door. There's someone very famous coming in. They need to be escorted through the back. So then the person's like, okay, open the back door for her. Demi Lovato comes in. No one even knows who she is. Like, no one even turns their head. No one even recognizes her in the restaurant. And she sat there and whatever. But she called ahead and said, very famous person, you need to open the back. I need to come in through the back.
That's a Leo DiCaprio level move for a Demi Lovato level celeb.
Yeah, so absolutely nothing. And then she said the ET thing the other day. So stupid. But I think those things are actually just deep state bait. They kind of send her out on like a kamikaze mission where it's like, say ETs is good and aliens is offensive. And then we'll get like all the Ben Shapiro types and the conservatives to go debate and make fun of it. And they move the goalposts like, oh, look how crazy that these liberals and leftists are getting. And they gets us all riled up. And then in the meantime, they execute John Gruden.
So
they push us further. Like, oh, look how far they want to go. They want to police the wording for aliens. And then in the meantime, John Gruden's fired for calling Roger Goodell gay 10 years ago in an email.
Classic.
So it's like there is a strategy to it, I guess. It's like you put some troops on one front, you let them get mowed down, but then that leaves us vulnerable to like the back door where you take actually someone out who, I don't know, John Gruden's not the biggest character, but football is.
Yeah.
Football is a pillar.
That definitely made waves, right?
And they fired him for the emails. It's like, dude, football coaches, you don't even know. Football coaches say all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's actually great. It's a great environment for young men to learn to be young men, at any level. So it's like to give it this treatment, like this Hollywood treatment, like, oh, what did he say? He's anti-trans, or he made fun of Roger Goodell, called him a pussy. He called someone else another name, and it's just like you should see the things that were said to me in high school by my football coach. Every worst name in the book, he would make people cry. He would just chew you out and humiliate you. And that was a sign that he liked you and he actually cared and he wanted you to be good.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, that's what I had a football coach who always used to say, when I stop yelling at you, that's when you'll know it's over. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Because I'm trying to make you be better.
And then the kids he didn't yell at were just like, oh, this kid's a lost cause. He'll never get it. And they got off easy. And they're like, I'm getting off easy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're never going to play.
You're never going to play. You're not trusted. You're never going in. So, yeah, they come for John Gruden. They take him out. He's been a legendary coach forever. And I guess that the NFL is heading in, as they say, a gayer direction. They're gay, they're trans, they're LGBT, they say.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what happens. And it's just like we need to remove our reverence. We need to stop caring about football and athletes because these aren't actual role models. Because if they were role models, they've been removed from the system already. Mm-hmm. So now it's like any real man who's left is going to get kind of chopped down.
I mean, they made Randy Moss cry on national TV. Like, Randy Moss, tough football guy.
Yeah, exactly. How many injuries have you played through? How many like crazy experiences have you had in football? How hard have you gone? How many opportunities have you missed or done well at? Like all these things that have shaped your life and like made you who you are. And then you find out John Gruden called someone a pussy in an email, and now you're getting like mad about it. You're crying.
Yep.
You're sad.
Yep.
It's so embarrassing. Isn't it crazy that of all people, it's John Gruden emails from 10 years ago and he gets in trouble? How many situations are there where there's the football player or the coach gets involved in domestic abuse, domestic violence? Tyreek Hill, I believe, was arrested for choking and hitting his pregnant girlfriend before the season.
But he's called the cheetah and he runs fast and, you know.
Yeah, he's allowed. But it's like
they won a Super Bowl.
It's not even about the things that they pretend to stand for. It's just about who's with him and who's against him. And if they can use these fake rules against their political opponents.
Of course. Richard Sherman banging on a door, yelling for his wife and he's going to beat her dad's ass and shit like that.
And then he's fine.
That was this summer.
Yeah, that was this summer. He's playing on like all different teams.
Antonio Brown paid settlement to a woman who accused him of rape. Paid a settlement, starting on the Bucks.
He's good to go. Everyone's good to go. They're all allowed to play. But John Gruden, who's probably an old school type who doesn't like the direction the NFL's headed, because Roger Goodell is actually a muppet, the worst.
Yep. And he actually has influence too. You know, John Gruden, it's like he left his impact on Tampa. He left his impact on Oakland. He had a national audience because he was the guy on Monday Night Football. So he had a lot of people's ears and a ton of respect in the league. And then obviously the Raiders moved from like Oakland to Vegas. So it's like he's got three main cities, a national audience because of how he was on Monday Night Football. But yeah.
And also,
gotta take him out, I guess.
I don't know fully all the ins and outs of John Gruden. I've only heard good things up until this. And it's like, think about him as a coach. Were there years of players stepping up and being like, yo, John Gruden's secretly racist?
That's the sixth time. You know, like that's the thing.
He calls me this. He says that. He treats certain players a certain way. It's like this guy is a legendary coach. He's been respected by players of every race for so long. To have a team play for their coach, there's like there's an aspect of respect there.
Yeah.
Where you're playing for John Gruden. And it's like if he was a bad guy, a truly bad guy for these things they're accusing him of being bad for, racist and homophobic and whatever, the players wouldn't have played for him. So like the fact that you're hearing about it now in this way, and then you're like, oh yeah, trust us, trust Roger Goodell. John Gruden's a bad guy. He has to go. Trust Randy Moss crying. What about every player who played for him who probably had nothing but good things to say about him?
Yeah, they don't care. They don't matter in the moment.
It doesn't. And that's like, this is one where it's like, Rat Boy and I played football in college. We've had a bunch of coaches our whole lives. You know the type, like a rough around the edges, say what you want, kind of goes hard on people. Maybe he's
my favorite type of coach.
It's the best. That's
Hardo.
what football's all about.
I love that.
And it's
like the passion.
Turns out he's a bad guy and no one knew. We only found out because we saw his emails with his buddies and he was sending like boomer emails to people.
Yeah, he probably forwarded forward this to 50 people and, laugh.
You call Joe Biden a clueless pussy?
Nervous, clueless pussy.
A nervous, clueless pussy. That's probably what sent him into Siberia. Well, R.I.P. to John Gruden. You're always welcome on the show.
I hope he makes a comeback.
Yeah, make a comeback. And if you want to come talk about it, we'll obviously host you. I sent the video I made earlier this week to Richie Incognito. Hopefully he sends it to you. Did you see Dave Chappelle stand up over the weekend?
Yeah, we watched it together.
Well, that's a perfect liaison to the next subject. What did you think of it?
I mean, it was good. It was funny. It was pretty funny.
And then the trans people at Netflix try to cancel him.
Those trans people at Netflix think they have a ton of power, I guess.
What is how do you Is it because you've been a victim and now everyone props you up? You think it's like you get all the equal treatment and then some to make up for how long you've been a victim?
Yep, exactly. You get complaint priority or something.
Isn't that nuts? And it's like, you guys we can't make fun of you. Dave Chappelle made fun of pretty much everybody in a special, but you get to trans people and you're like, you can't make fun of us. You're like, you can't handle it. For a lot of them, it's like you're a guy in a dress with lipstick and hairy arms. And it's like,
yep,
that's a lot to handle, walking into like the food court at the mall. It's like, that's pretty impressive. You're able to handle that. You can't handle a joke on Netflix
that you can easily turn off.
Yeah, and not watch. Exactly.
Like, why are you getting cyberbullied, dog? Just turn off the computer.
Yeah. Why are you getting cyberbullied, dog?
But yeah, that's a big thing. It's like they think they have so much power, like a trans walkout at Netflix. Oh my gosh. It's like, Dave Chappelle's a $50 million man to Netflix and drives so many people to subscribe and watch.
Yeah, you're a purple-haired girl with a mustache and a Mazda Miata. Like, we don't
entry-level job. Like, I don't even know where these people are at in the Netflix organization.
And if you're trans, you were probably hired because we need trans people around here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not because you're the best coder or programmer or Netflix worker. You're probably just like the hire they had to do.
Yeah,
the diversity
hire. Yeah, so you let in the diversity hire, and now you're stuck with the consequences of it. So I kind of like it. I'm kind of good with it.
I'm fine with putting trans people, I don't want to say in their place because that could sound bad. I'm fine with knocking trans people down a notch or two.
For sure. I like the situation too where it's like someone has to explain to these people in a nice corporate speak setting that like, hey, I hear you. But we're going to go with Dave Chappelle on this. Like, we like Dave Chappelle.
We got to hear Dave's side.
So I get it that you're a
$50 billion we made over in 1 week.
I get it that you're a financial analyst or, you're a back-end coder or you're a marketing specialist, but you're very replaceable. And Dave Chappelle is not.
And just because you're a guy who thinks they're a girl doesn't give you any special treatment or prioritization when it comes to like how you think about things. In fact, I would say it's the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
If I went to my mechanic and it was a dude in a dress with lipstick and he's like, yeah, I'm Betty, we're going to bang around your car a little bit, I'd be like, is there someone else here who can maybe handle this a little bit,
someone a little bit more serious maybe?
Yeah. Someone who's not confused about their own parts. The most basic aspect of their life. Can we get someone who maybe has just like worked on cars for a while?
And it's so funny because isn't that the thing? Like it used to be like repression in the 1950s, and it's like, wow, it turns out Mike has been breaking into other, like, the guy who runs the bank. Turns out he's been breaking into people's houses and huffing undies, and it's like, oh my God, Mike. And it's like you used to hide your freak behavior and then get caught, but now it's full flag freak stuff and take me as I am, and you're punished if not.
Like the closeting, everyone's like making it like, oh, going back to the closet is like the worst thing ever. I think the truth is somewhere in between the two. Maybe closeting was extreme and no one was allowed to express themselves. But I think how far we let the pendulum swing from that went a little too far. Remember the Pride parades? It used to be, we just want love is love. We want to love who we want. We want the freedom to do it. Now they're doing like twerking in the street in the little boy underwear.
It was like, I want to be able to go in the hospital room when my gay husband is dying and they don't let me do that.
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
want my tax benefits. My tax benefits of a marriage license.
It's like, great, I understand that. But you're twerking and it's actually a kid twerking and it's the Pride parade and there's babies around.
Yeah. Now there's books in school where they're talking about oral sex with like a man and a child.
Yeah, and you're yelling "it's ma'am" at me at a very
excuse me, it's ma'am.
Deep voice. And
it is ma'am.
It's hard to keep up. It's a circus and it's hard to keep up. On Amazon, there's this thing that's like, if you want to shop based on race, you can shop by like Black-owned business, Asian-owned business, woman-owned business.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that's of any interest to you, Richard Ratboy.
No. I think you gave racists the tools to avoid certain products, probably.
So all the people in the South go, hey, where are the white-owned businesses? I'm looking for a white-owned business.
Yeah, I mean, it's just racism.
For my Confederate flag. I want to buy a Confederate flag from a white-owned business.
Yeah, it's just racism under the guise of progressivism, once again.
Mm-hmm.
As it always is.
So make sure you do your holiday shopping based on who the people you're buying from want to sleep with and what they were born looking like.
And you know what?
It's very important.
You know what? You never, I may be way off base on this, but like black people are obviously having their moment the year and a half. It's like, where are the Latinos at? Where are the Hispanics at? I guess Cubans are kind of like an outspoken group, but like Mexicans and stuff, it's like you're a pretty big percentage. You're almost bigger than the black population, right?
Yeah.
So
That's a massive block, cultural block, voting block.
I haven't heard a peep out of them, but we still get
I think they don't fall into the
long term, like
or like the
portion-
LGBT intersectional aspect of it, where it's like, oh, I'm trans and I stand with my DACA brothers and sisters. Like they're not fully on that wave where it's like, oh yeah, you're a lesbian and I'm an illegal immigrant. We stand together against Trump. They're just like, no, I just want to go to work.
I'm Catholic.
I want to go to work and send $44 back via what's it called?
Western Union.
Western Union, yeah. So it's like that's really what it is. And then they're kind of realizing that they can't get the Latinos. And in the black community, you can kind of get the youth and the black women pretty easily. And then like the sellout black men, like the Al Sharpton types and the ones that are higher up that are doing all the race baiting. But the fact that the family units in black culture are more broken is what allows the transgenderism to seep in.
Gotcha. Fair.
That makes sense?
It does make sense to me, actually. I mean,
because it's like you have some Latino kid in America, and you can relate to them and find some things they like, but then they go home and they tell their hardworking dad, like, "Oh, Dad, today I learned that I'm actually a girl." He's gonna go, "I don't know.
go to your room.
Go to your room. I don't work all day, so you can tell me
pretend
you're a girl
with your
now."
friends.
I'm not good at accents. Did you see the South? I have to use my words correctly because you get in trouble.
Okay.
The Southwest sick out.
Sick
Everyone went sick at the same time. It's technically not a strike. If you say it's a Southwest strike because all of the workers stopped going to work for a few days over last weekend, resulting in like hundreds, if not thousands, of canceled flights. Mm-hmm. But then the Southwest CEO came on and said there's no evidence that it was for the vaccine mandates. It was just some bad weather and some misunderstandings and some people not showing up.
Yeah.
When in reality, it was a coordinated, we're all going to take sick on the same day and make Southwest kind of hear the message.
Yeah. The freedom flu got pretty contagious.
The freedom flu. But then if you say, oh, the Southwest employees and pilots went on strike, they fact check you. And they go back to the Southwest CEO, and then the news, there's no reports that actually it was this.
Yeah.
And all the unions say, oh, it's not a real strike because the strikes have to go through the unions, and they're not for that. Yeah. So it had to be like an unorganized, organized strike that's not a strike. Everyone just got fake sick on the same day.
That don't tread on me flag out of the cockpit, that was just a windsock.
Yeah.
The guy was looking for the wind direction.
Unrelated.
So, no biggie, no strike.
But that's a great way to do it. That's like the perfect people to protest that way because flights is high stakes. People are missing their flights. They need to go places and they're not able to. So a point is made. It affects Southwest's bottom line for sure. Money's not made. They're actually probably hemorrhaging money.
I think... and this is how it used to work when I used to work at an airline, but it's like if they have all these people stranded or whatever and they don't have the aircraft to actually get it done, they'd have to like buy seats on United or buy seats on American for their passengers. Wow. So it's literally money out the door if that's how it happened.
Which is great because it's like there are people that want to protest, like especially like doctors and nurses. But like doctors and nurses, you can't really have like a walkout because then you're leaving people in the hospital.
And you're just lighting up your patient.
Yeah, like that's tough. But this is a perfect group that kind of represents everyone. They're very necessary people. They're very important workers, very skilled workers. And if they were to do this and organize and then other industries follow, say trucking follows. If there's a truck driver
and they just
walk out,
50 trucks on a highway going 10 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly. And they just block things off like they kind of did in Australia a few weeks ago. You will quickly send your message to the very high up areas in this country.
I would love to see that.
And I think there's going to be a meat shortage coming. I think that's kind of what's going to happen. I think it'll eventually get to the truckers saying, and then everyone going, oh no, why pork so much? Where's steak go?
Yep.
Where ribeyes?
They all went up.
They all went up because of Let's Go Brandon.
Come on.
So moving on to the next thing. The fate of Jerry's testicles. Jerry is the dog, by the way. He's our dog. Probably should clarify that.
He's a Rottweiler.
He's a Rottweiler puppy. He's 7 months old, and everyone is pressuring me to cut his balls off and neuter him. And
everyone meaning like the employees at the animal hospital you go to.
Yeah, the employees at the animal hospital. And then I was at that dog park the other day, and this horrible woman was there.
Yeah.
And she's looking at Jerry like she's scared of him because he's a Rottweiler, even though he's the sweetest dog of all time, least aggressive dog. I wish he was actually meaner, and he's not. He's just not a bad bone in his body. And she looks at him, and his back is facing her. So his balls, she's looking at his balls. And she goes, "Oh, is he neutered?" And I was like, "No."
You know the answer.
She knows the answer. And she goes, "Oh, okay." Like as if she was kind of like nervous about it. And it's like this same scared Karen is like why things are so bad in this country as well. People like reacting to like people who are scared. And like, so it's like, oh, you're going to like put your mask on. Like, it's like the same energy.
Is he neutered? Put your
Like,
mask
don't
on.
you have a mask? Like 6 feet? Like, do you have a vaccine? So it clicked in my head, and I was like, this lady at the dog park, it's an urban legend probably. It's like the old wives' tale. Ooh, you have to get the dog neutered ASAP or it's going to be aggressive. The dog's the best dog.
Yeah.
So,
and we want him to grow with testosterone and intact body parts.
exactly, because if we neuter him now, he'll grow to full size and he'll be just like a lanky, scared dog. He needs to be Chad, 6'6", never back down, always square up, fight, win, know what it's like to win. Then we cut his nuts off, and then he'll just kind of naturally be the Chad he remembers he was, but he won't get why it's not the same.
Exactly.
If we cut his balls off now, he'll just be a big baby, and then some Chad with his nuts will chat him, and then I'll be humiliated at the dog park.
Yep.
And we'll have to get a new dog park and go to a new place. We're going to be jumping around the city,
Change the whole life up.
and it's going to ruin my life.
Yep.
So we're keeping his nuts. We're not capitulating to people who are scared and say, "Oh, you just wear a mask. It makes it safer for everyone." The dog doesn't do anything. He's a fine, sweet boy. He's keeping his nuts. You hear that, Jerry? You're keeping your nuts, pal.
And I'm very happy that Fleck has made this decision too, because it could have just been the easy thing. Like, we got the appointment on the calendar. Let's just take him. And we stayed strong. So.
Yep, stayed strong, unneutered Rottweiler, who we actually I had to use an online service to find a pet sitter for this weekend. And when I used the service, I'm not going to say which one because I don't want people to message them and get my account canceled.
Oh,
That happened with like Etsy or something. My account got canceled. But yeah, I used this pet sitting service. And first of all, I'll just say it. It's rover.com. It's the big one. It's the big one. And I'm using the service. So it's basically like I sign up and it's like pick a person to watch your dog. And they have all these reviews. So they're all like real dog watchers. But I'm going through. And first of all, there's people on this website that will go live in your house and watch your dog and like live in your home
I didn't know it was like that.
for $27 a day,
No way.
which is absolutely bonkers.
That's
to
a
me.
good deal for them.
I mean, yeah, but it's like
I'd be on Rover looking for my next. If I was like a bum, I'd be on Rover
Exactly.
looking for my next 3 weeks.
it's like I'm gonna have someone in my house who comes here for $27, and what are they gonna steal all my stuff? Why wouldn't you? $27 or everything I have. I don't own anything great, but I mean the projector, you could just take it.
There's a lot of tech in here.
What kind of people they live in your house for $27?
Where do they sleep?
And then for like $8 less, they'll just stop by and let the dog out, check in on him, give him water and food, and then leave. So it's like for $8, you're going to spend the whole day and night at my house. It's like, don't you have things to do? $27?
Clearly not.
For $54, you're going to like ruin your whole weekend? Maybe people don't think like I do, but that would just be like the absolute worst soul suck, time suck of my life.
No, they see it as a vacation probably. They're like, all right, free house.
Yeah. So I'm going through the list of like the people. There's the pseudo Chad type who's like, I'd love to add your dog to my pack. And he's got like 7 leashes and goes to the dog park every day.
Yep.
Not what I'm looking for. he's got enough Chad energy in his life. We don't need to pass him off to someone who doesn't fully know what to do.
Oh, let's see where he fits in the pack. Oh, it looks like Nico showed him who was boss.
Yeah.
Like those type of guys who are just like, sometimes I get down on all fours and I have to show them who's the real alpha.
Yeah, and I also wear like Tiva sandals. And it's like, well, for that reason, I'm out.
Yeah.
So I can't pick a guy who thinks he's a Chad. I can't pick a lady, like an older lady.
Yeah.
Because their house smells.
And Jerry might knock her down or something.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Imagine like some old lady's nice house with like pink carpets and like the couch that matches the wallpaper. And it's like, you're going to have Jerry in there and it smells like an old, doilies. It's going to smell like an old lady house. So then it's like, I'm kind of going through and I'm realizing like the two people I picked were both like good looking girls. And then I'm like, oh shit, like, is this illegal? Like, am I going on rover.com and picking like two good looking girls? Because I think a girl energy would be good for Jerry. It'd be a little vacation.
For sure.
It'd be some girl who thinks he's so sweet and so cute and treats him like a little prince and loves him and look, is nice to him all weekend. That's what I'm looking for. And there was a couple options. I sent some messages. We got him locked up. He's got a good place to stay this weekend. Some of these people, it's like, oh yeah, he can join me. I have 3 dogs and 2 cats. Would love, no problem adding one more.
No rules at all.
Yeah. What does your apartment smell like? Number one.
Chaos.
3 dogs and 2 cats, and you're going to add Jerry to that? Pass. That's a hard pass. That's a no for me, dog.
How much did the prices vary? Like,
I think this one's like $50 a day.
okay. Standards.
And I just drop him off and I pick him up 2 days. She's going to enjoy having a puppy. She'll think it's so nice. And she didn't have any dogs of herself. That was the key.
There you go.
No other pets, and a person who had a good amount of reviews, didn't have a smelly lady house, wasn't a stupid guy. A lot of the dudes that I was looking through, like in Rover, a lot of the dudes gave me, I'm going to fart in your dog's face when you're not around vibes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The type who pulls the dog and then farts in their face. Not having that. No one's doing that to my Jerry.
Except for you.
Never done that. That'd be so weird.
So you're going to go back and change all the old episodes to 001, 002?
Yep. We're going to change all the other episodes, 001, 002, 003, this one's 004. And it's the right thing to do. And we hope you guys enjoyed it, this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Please listen, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. Please give us a 5-star review. Send this to a friend. Hope you enjoy it. ShopFuckus.com for the best merch in the game. We have Trader Joe's still going strong. Use code Jerry and it's 20% off, making the shirt less than $20. You guys are the best. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Leave us some comments. Everyone tells me they love it, so if you guys love it too, leave the comments. Thank you for watching. We'll see you at the next one.